And sure, I could do it with a kid, or I could just do it with myself. That's
Oh my god.
Nothing says happy holidays like sitting down to tell you all about why I don't want kids. So let's get into it. If you've been around my channel for a while, you've likely heard me mention that I don't want kids, but I've never done a full deep dive and talked about the multi-layered reasons why I have no plans to have kids. I am 31 years old, I'll be 32 in February, and I am still firmly on the no kids bandwagon. And I know that I am not the only one who feels this way. I just want to sit down and share my perspective and my reasonings. I am not speaking for anybody else who doesn't want kids except my own self. If you also don't want kids, I hope you find some of this a bit validating. If you have kids and you love being a parent, I am so happy for you. This is not meant to be an attack on your choice or your experience. I think what's beautiful about the world is that we can all want different things and we can all pursue different life paths. And this is the path that I am choosing to go down. And I just want to tell you a little bit about why. Now, growing up, I loved my dolls. I was a doll fanatic. I had so many dolls and I had all of the accessories. I had multiple strollers. I had like a little swing. Oh my God, it was so cute. One year for Christmas, this was all I wanted from the like Scholastic thing that you'd get in the mail that you'd pick toys from. I wanted this pink Minnie Mouse baby doll set. So it came with a Minnie Mouse stroller, a diaper bag, and like a swing for the baby dolls. I had bottles, multiple, so many outfits, so many types of dolls. I had the like realistic ones with the silicone skin. Listen, I was a playing house kind of gal, which just goes to show that the things we do when we're 3 and 4 don't necessarily mean that we will grow into being that person. As I continued to grow up, particularly, I feel like I noticed it for the first time in high school. I had friends who really wanted kids. Like they would talk about how much they couldn't wait to like graduate high school, get married, just so they could have kids. That is how much they wanted kids. And I remember just being like, I can't relate to that feeling at all. Like not even a little bit does that feeling resonate with me. I was so focused on things like fundraising. I did a ton of fundraising growing up. I would plan fundraising events, I would speak at fundraisers, I would do press around fundraising. Like that was my bread and butter. I did a lot of public speaking, ran a lot of events. That was kind of my passion. And I was like, well, we've all got different things. They love babysitting, they want kids. This is my passion. One day, I'll get those same feelings of wanting kids. And I worked as a camp counselor, so I was around kids. And let me just say, not to like toot my own horn, but I was like one of the favorite counselors. Like all the kids would beg their parents to have me be their babysitter. So I even babysat in high school. Yes, me, a blind girl who doesn't want kids, was entrusted to babysit. Don't worry, we'll get into being a disabled parent later in this video. So I've had a lot of experience with kids, and what I will say is, this is so taboo to say, I don't like them. I just don't. I don't enjoy being around children. I am one of those curmudgeons who gets a scrunchy face when a child cries in public or is making lots of sounds. I'm like, oof. Like I am the person who will pay to go on an adults only trip. Like 18 plus, sign me the hell up. Love that. I know that's taboo to say, but I also am saying it because I know I'm not the only person who feels that. And when I was a camp counselor, I would always work the camps that were like middle school. So like 11 to 14. And I still love that age. And I know a lot of people really dislike that age. I remember when I would say that that was my favorite age to work with, when I worked with youth, people were always shocked because they're like, oh my God, those are like the nightmare kids who are starting to go through puberty and are starting to get mouthy and become rebellious and figure themselves out. They're not like the cute little kids anymore. I love that age. The cute little kids don't really exist to me. I can't see how adorable they look. I can just hear the sounds they make and smell them. And they're always sticky. They're always sticky. And, kids often use what I call very visual language. Look at this over here. What's that? It's exhausting to me. It is genuinely exhausting. And on top of that, I often feel like a great sense of fear because I cannot see, like, are they putting something in their mouth? I have an extreme phobia of choking. My boyfriend can attest. My phobia of choking is intense. I've made a whole video about the 4 times in my life that I have choked that have led to me having such a severe choking phobia that exists within me on a daily basis and has only gotten worse with time. Love that for me. But I like can't see when a kid's like sticking their finger in a socket or shoving a rock in their mouth, like we know kids tend to do. And that just gives me so much anxiety. And when I would work with youth, I loved working with 11 to 14-year-olds. I loved that age of being able to talk in full sentences, being able to form opinions that you could deep dive with them, being able to help really like mentor them and like if they're really struggling, be that person who is their safe space. I loved getting to see kids become somebody, like explore style and music, and I thought that age was so beautiful. They were like these little caterpillars coming out of their cocoon and becoming a butterfly and spreading their wings, and I still think that age is magical. If I could just have an 11-year-old and upward, I may consider having kids. The like baby, toddler, kid phase, absolutely no thank you. I just literally feel uncomfortable. I don't know how else to put it. Like my soul when I'm around kids feels like deep discomfort. And I feel like I have to like pretend to be somebody I'm not to interact with them. It's like a really, I feel like I'm like putting on a character that feels unnatural to me. Where some people like love getting on the floor with kids and like playing make believe, to me that feels like a chore. Like I'm like, this is so awkward. Like I don't know how to explain it and I feel bad saying that, but again, I'm saying it and being oh so very honest because I know that I am not the only person who has that feeling. And when I became like late teens, early 20s, I was 19 years old when I entered a long-term relationship with somebody. We were together for 2.5 years. He was 2 years older than me. And we met because he was also a camp counselor. And he was incredible with kids and loved them. He adored children. And that was like the only phase in my entire 31 years of life that I can remember feeling like maybe I do want kids. But eventually I realized that I wanted kids because I loved him and I wanted to help him be a dad because he loved kids and he wanted kids and he would be an incredible father. I didn't want kids because Molly as an individual wanted children. I wanted them for him. That's one of perhaps the reasons in the back of my head that that relationship ended was because I started realizing like, ooh, I don't know that we ultimately do want the same things. And that was really important. But then in my like early mid 20s, I was kind of on this track of like, well, I was just like young and still needed to grow up and explore. But the older I get, I'm open to the idea that I will meet somebody who changes my mind and I will want kids. And then I entered my late 20s and I was single. And I was like so very clearly firm in my mind that I did not want kids and that I actually wasn't going to meet somebody who was going to change my mind. And I think I deep down knew that for a very long time, but society kept telling me I was going to change my mind. And that is something those of us, especially women who don't want kids, hear all the time. And yes, I do know that it happens. I know people who it happened to. One of the people I talk about in my book, Unseen, Rebecca, was one of those people in my life who was a mentor to me. She's 10 years older than me. She firmly didn't want kids until she entered her 30s, and now she's a mom. And it seems from social media that she loves it. And that's great. But I think I was one of those people who kept that like idea in my mind that I would change my mind because of other people telling me that I would, not because I actually thought I would. And by my late 20s, I was like, oh no. And I think we live in a world, frankly, where a lot of people have kids without questioning if they want them. A lot of people have kids because it's just the societal norm, or at least it has been. It's what is expected of us. And actually, that is part of why I wanted to make this video in December, because I know in the holiday season, a lot of us are going to go see our families, visit family that we might not see that often, and get the parents or the grandparents asking, when are you guys going to have kids? And I'm very fortunate that that is not something my parents have ever put on me. And my brother has recently made them grandparents. They were first-time grandparents. I'm a first-time aunt. My brother had his first baby back in August, if you didn't know. And so they have that. The void is filled. The grandparent void is filled. But my parents were always like, if neither of you have kids, great. Like, we got to have you guys. We don't need to be grandparents. We'll be thrilled to be grandparents, but we don't need to be, because we're not going to push you to have kids unless you really want it, because you've got to really want it. And my brother has really wanted it for as long as I've known him. And as long as I've known myself, other than that like wee blip, which I've already explained, I've not wanted them. It's just not felt like something I'm called to do. And I think another aspect of a lot of people like not really thinking through wanting kids, but just having them out of kind of like expectation or obligation and not even like really critically thinking about it before just like diving in, is also people idealize children a lot. This has been something I've seen throughout my whole life. I have been told many times that I am, quote, so lucky my parents kept me, and that, you know, they would give away their child if they were disabled. That's a whole other discussion. I think putting your child up for adoption when you know you are not capable of caring for them is an incredibly selfless, loving, extraordinary gift to give. That's a whole other discussion. But people saying stuff like that is so utterly disgusting. My teacher, my disability mentor, recently texted me and said she had a student in her class, a teenager, say out loud that if she had a child who was disabled, she would throw the baby across the room and bash its head in. These are real things people say about disabled kids and to disabled people. And I also have seen many disabled people in my life who were neglected by their parents because they didn't live up to what their parents thought they were going to have. And that's very upsetting to see. A lot of people idealize what a child is going to be. It's going to get your eyes and your nose, and I hope it has your laugh and your smile. And they don't think about, what if our child struggles with drug abuse? What if our child has a severe learning disability? What if our child develops cancer? They don't think through the hard parts about, what if our child has anger management issues and throws a lot of temper tantrums? You think about all the great moments, and you rarely think about the sleeplessness and the financial burden. And can we juggle our work schedules with their activities and getting them an education and all of these other things, right? And so I think growing up seeing so many of my disabled peers being neglected and being sent off to institutions and whatnot really felt so disheartened by that. I know that so many people said like, oh, you're so lucky your parents kept you, in like a very snarky way. But I do recognize that I'm very fortunate to have had the parents that I did have as a disabled person, who truly like didn't look any less upon me as a child for being disabled. But unfortunately that does happen. But nobody thinks I'm gonna have a disabled child, and nobody thinks if I do have a disabled child, what are we gonna do? You even hear stories of, you know, people finding out through testing pre-birth that their child has Down syndrome, and one parent wants to end the pregnancy and the other doesn't. Frankly, these are conversations parents need to be having. Parents need to be having a lot more conversations about parenthood before entering the discussion of, are we going to become parents and pregnancy? But I feel like they don't. And I've never looked at it with like those rose-colored glasses on. I've frankly always looked at the hard parts more than I've looked at the beautiful moments that I might have with a child if I was to have one. And I think that there would be a lot of beautiful moments. And I think that despite a lot of the things I've said, I do think I would be a good mom. I know I'm an incredible fur parent. I know that when I feel responsible for another being, I put myself to the side and I put everything into that being. I know that I am a very compassionate, empathetic, loving person. And I know that I would be a good mom. I think that my life experiences would make me a good mom. But I don't want to be. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be a happy mom. And I think the best moms are happy moms. And so in my late 20s, I really like had that come to Jesus moment where I realized all of this. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna be single forever. We all know the video. We remember me. And then boom, literally days later, I met my partner of almost 3 years. And I remember the first time we hung out, the way that he lit up about his niece, I was like, oh no. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to date right now anyways. Like, we're just hanging out as friends. I put the clear boundary up. We're just hanging out as friends. It's fine that he like loves and adores his niece and likely wants kids, like that's not a problem because I don't plan on dating this guy. That lasted long. We end up dating, and again, like he talks about his niece and how cute she is and how he loves doing XYZ with her when he goes to visit and how much he misses her, and oh, this cute picture his sister sent of her. And I was like, because I knew so firmly there was nothing that would change my mind. And I want to say maybe 3 months in to us dating, before we had truly made it like official, I was like, I have to be so honest with him, and I have to tell him before we get any further. Like, we were both 29 years old. Neither of us were interested in like dating for the hell of it. Like, we were only interested in dating with intention that it would become something serious. And so I was like, I gotta tell him. And I was so anxious. And I was also devastated to think that like I might lose this person who just in these 3 months I've grown an attachment to, at the very least on a friendship level. And I told him, and the good news was that I think he had kind of lived in this gray area that I had lived in for a long time, which was like, I don't really want kids, but I think if I met a partner who really wanted kids, then I would. That same position that I had, kind of the box that so many of us who don't want kids put ourselves in. And in that moment, it was kind of that realization of like, oh, I mean, I also don't think I really want to have kids. And he like went away with it, and he thought on it, and like came to the conclusion that yes, like he would be very happy to not have kids, and that was actually probably more realistically like the life path that he wanted if he really did his own soul searching and not thinking about what a partner would want or what like society expected. And that was great news. And the other great news is that his parents also very much tell us like, we don't care if you have kids, don't have kids if you don't want it. So both of our sets of family are really happy with us not wanting kids. So we're very lucky, but I know that's not the case for everybody. And I think since I've been firmly in this truly I don't want kids situation for, I would say like 4 years at least now, I've really done a lot of soul searching on what are the real reasons beyond all of the like, I just don't like kids. Because I hear from a lot of people like, I didn't like kids either, but then I had my own and I love my kids. You'll love your kids even if you don't like other people's kids. Yeah, okay. Whatever, sure, maybe that's true. But all that aside, like, what are the real reasons that I don't want kids? I think one of them is that, to be honest, I've had a really difficult life. I think if you've read Unseen, How I Lost My Vision But Found My Voice, link down below. Great holiday gift, by the way. Or if you've just followed me for a very long time, you could probably see that I've had a pretty tough life, even more so than many disabled people. I've had a lot of very traumatic things happen to me, even more so than I've even told you. Don't worry, there's many books to come of untold stories that are filled with trauma just for your enjoyment. But I've had a really hard life, and I think the older I got, the more I was like, my adulthood is for me. Like, I want to enjoy my life. I had to grow up really fast. I missed out on a lot of being an innocent child. In the prologue of my book, I talk about how having to grieve the death of yourself while trying to figure out how to keep living is a profound experience, and that is where childhood died for me. I was still a kid, but I was not a child. I did not have the innocence of a child. And frankly, it was probably robbed from me even much younger than that. Most of my childhood memories from very early on are of really hard things, like surgeries and invasive medical testing and being pulled away from my class at school to test out different assistive technologies to see which would work best for me, and having to go to school with a cane and being ridiculed. Like, it's not fun. I didn't have a fun childhood. And I think not only would I relive a lot of my own trauma in seeing my child grow up, but I don't want to then sign up for a challenging adulthood. Because again, I know that having a kid would have those idealized, beautiful, fun moments, getting to take them to Disneyland for the first time and picking out their clothes, helping them get dressed. And like, all of that would be so fun. Girl, you know I'd love to be a baby stylist. But I can do that as the fun, cool aunt in LA, which I get to do now because my partner has a niece and nephew that by extension are mine. And I have a niece on my side as well now too. And so I can have all those fun, idealized moments that I think would be great and then give the kid back. How awesome is that? But I don't have to go through the anxiety-inducing moments, the stress-inducing moments, the exhaustion that I had to go through most of my childhood. I developed PTSD following an accident at like 8 or 9 years old that kept me in sleepless nights for over a year, having to do a sleep study because they couldn't figure out why I couldn't sleep. Newsflash, it was because I was traumatized from an accident that I should have never had, but I'm blind, so I did. And I don't want to go through that. And if that makes me selfish, I think that's okay. I'm okay with that because I also know that in many areas of my life, I am selfless. My work, in my job, in my advocacy, I give so much of myself away. And I think a lot of people have kids because they want purpose. I don't need purpose, I have it. This is my purpose. I don't feel like the advocacy work I do is a job. I feel that it is a purpose, it is a calling. I am like a conduit for a message that is being delivered from some higher power, and I am simply here checking the boxes. I don't feel like I can stop or put this down because every single day I see injustice and I can't sit back and let it happen while I'm busy raising my child. And some people can do both, I can't. I need to put my whole self into what is my purpose because lots of people can have a kid, but I know that not everybody is capable or wants to do the work that I do, and I see that it needs to be done, and I can't sit back and expect somebody else to do it if I won't. So I'm gonna be out here and I'm gonna do it. And the work that I do gives a lot of myself away, and it is exhausting, and I need to come back to my bed and have a undisturbed sleep and sleep in and get up and do it all again. And so if I'm selfish for wanting my adult life to be living the life that I didn't get to have as a child, and grab my Winnie. Welcome our guest star of the episode.
I've got a rumbly tumbly.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay, so I am simultaneously very...
You're dressed like him right now.
I just thought of that too. This was not planned. I am firmly confident in the fact that I am a very mature, intelligent person, and I am simultaneously so childlike and playful. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that I didn't get to explore a lot of that side of things as a kid, and I'm doing it now. And sure, I could do it with a kid, or I could just do it with myself. That's...
Oh my god.
Don't clip that. If any of you clip it, you sick people.
That was amazing.
That out of context
That was really good.
is awful. What I meant to say is, sure, I could explore my inner child and reclaim it with my own child, or I could frivolously, that's a hard word to say, spend my adult hard-earned dollars on vintage Winnie the Poohs from eBay. Sorry.
Those are my adult hard-earned dollars.
My boyfriend bought this for me because I really wanted him.
You're my friend.
Oh.
Stop it. That fills my whole heart. When I'm sad, best believe this is the best cuddle buddy. Sorry, Elton. But Elton can't talk in the voice of Winnie the Pooh, my favorite childhood friend. Anyways, you get the point. I'm living my adult life for me, and frankly for my community. I do a lot for my community, okay? And it's tiring, and I don't want to give that up because I believe in what I do and I believe it matters. And I don't think that I am capable of doing it all. As the wise Shonda Rhimes once said, you can have it all, but you can't have it all at once. And I also want to say, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, come here. You can sit on my lap. He is my baby.
You wanted to be the star.
Elton and Winnie the Pooh, they are my babies. Side note, my dream is to have an autonomous Winnie the Pooh in the house. One day, that's what I hope AI dollars get us. One thing I want to make so very clear is that, well, yes, for me personally, there are aspects of my disability that play a role in me not loving hanging out with children. We'll put it that way. There are equally so many blind people and so many disabled people who are, will be, and can be incredible parents. And yes, that is also when they're both disabled parents. You can have two disabled parents and be incredible parents. I know many of them myself. In real life, seen it with my own, well, haven't seen it with my own two eyes.
We
but
caught her, everyone. We caught her.
you know what I'm saying. The difference is they wanted to be parents. They were passionate about kids. And so no barrier stood in the way of that. The same way no barrier will stand in the way of me putting on a good face in the morning, you know? I'll figure it out. Even though makeup isn't designed to be accessible, I figure out the workarounds to make it accessible for myself because I care about it and I want to. It's one of those things where it's like when you're passionate, the hardships are worth it. But when you're not passionate, the hardships feel insurmountable. And that is just how it feels for me. And before anybody decides to tell me I'm gonna change my mind, I quite literally, we're in the phase of our relationship where like one of us is getting snipped. You know, like we're not going to change our minds. And stop telling people that they will. Because when we tell people you're gonna change your mind, things can happen like they end up having kids because you told them they'll change their mind. Just like I kept that door open in my mind. What if my partner and I both had kept that door open in our mind of like, well, if my partner really wants it, and then we ended up having kids because we thought the other person wanted it because society kept telling us we would, and then we didn't actually want kids. I would rather regret not having kids than regret having them, because one of them implicates an innocent child who didn't choose to be in this world. And I think there would be a lot less traumatic childhoods if people thought more critically about whether they actually do or do not want kids. Because I think generational trauma is being passed down by people feeling forced to have kids, having them, not really wanting them, not being super present, attentive parents, not really giving their kids the love they deserve because they didn't really want them, and they're exhausted and overworked, and they don't have the capacity to put it into their child, and so the child is ending up with a childhood less than they deserve, right? Like, I think it's just a vicious cycle. And to be honest, we don't really live in a world that is designed to empower parents these days. Like, the way the world is set up right now is failing parents. And we don't live in a world that's like a great place to bring kids into. And I truly don't judge people who want to and do bring kids into this world, but I don't really personally feel like we have a world set up for parents to succeed and for kids to thrive. And I don't feel a need to be a part of contributing to that or be involved in that. I want to be involved in empowering children who other people are raising, you know, by making my content, by speaking, by consulting, by doing all the avenues of advocacy that I do. That's where I want to put my contribution to positively impacting the world. And that, I know, does not just impact one child or two, it impacts many. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really grateful that I'm able to do that. And I wouldn't be able to do it to the level that I do if I had my own child. Do you have anything else?
Goodness, that tickles.
Tell me that doesn't bring you joy. Look at that rumbly tumbly.
Also, what's really funny is if I pan to the left and zoom in, there's another Winnie the Pooh's paw sticking out of the closet.
Listen, this is my daytime poo and that's my bedtime poo, and they're never allowed to meet. I don't want one of them to get jealous. To end this, I hope for those who see yourself in any of what I said, that this feels a bit validating and comforting for you. For those who want to be a parent, who love being a parent, you're doing it. For those of us who don't want to, keep repopulating the planet, because I won't be doing that. And for those who are disabled young people who question it, just know that if you want to be a parent, you will be an incredible parent, and your disability is not a problem. Will there be different challenges you have to face as a disabled parent? Sure, but you can do it if you want to. Don't let your disability be the reason you don't have kids, because that's certainly not the reason that I am not having kids. And I also would really ask all of you who have yet to have kids to really sit with yourself and think, why do I want kids? And do I really want them for the right reasons? Am I doing this to check the box of buy the house, get married, have the kid? Or am I doing this because I feel a deep purpose in raising a generation that changes all the messed up stuff the generations before us contributed to this planet? Sit with it. Ask yourself, because not enough people do. Okay, and until next time, you can click here to watch another Molly Rambles video, or you can click over here to watch a reaction video. Is it dinner time, my love? Oh, I'm the papas. You guys, he definitely would not want another baby. He loves being the only sole baby, don't you? Yes, you do. Okay, time to feed the baby and take him to the parkies.